All right. Hello, Aries. Welcome back. Welcome to Karma on Deck. This is your Aries weekly tarot reading for September 7th. September! All right. So we have a lot of really benefic energies coming in the beginning of the month in direct contrast. So it's coming toward the end. It's going to be a little bit of a challenging Mercury retrograde this time around. So specific to relationships. I was listening to Nightlight Astrology where he was talking about this is where the benefit of understanding astrology and following it regularly helps you understand the phases and aspects as they're coming so that you can be prepared. Like he was talking in his video, not like about this hopelessness where things are about to happen to you, but you have this opportunity to check your foundations and, reestablish connection with some people if there's a fault line, to try to mend things before you have this influx of chaos, etc., which I thought was a beautiful way to reframe it, because a lot of us look at Mercury retrograde as being this big, huge tornado event that comes in and wrecks our lives. But what's true is if you watch astrology and you listen close enough to some of the aspects, you can understand that there's undertones, yes, but like he was saying, you get yourself an opportunity to be aware of what's coming and work on them beforehand. And just kind of like checking for the weather. If it's going to rain out, you bring an umbrella. If it's going to storm out, you make sure you have enough food and stay home or do whatever it is to protect your safety. So these are kind of some of the ways that you play with astrology, right? And if it's good or bad or influential in one way or another. All right, let's pull a card for you, Aries, in the beginning here. Let's see. Hi. And the beginning here. Six of Wands, money coming your way. Victory. Interesting. The Tower card. Now, some cards you got to you realize that there's 10 cards in here. They're not all going to be perfect. We have the Tower card, which your energy is going to feel a little shaken, which is interesting because that's what was going on for Pisces. Pisces have the Tower card in their mental state. Yours is in the forefront in the 3D. You're feeling as if things are being shaken up, and that's a little bit uncomfortable. In addition to that, you're looking for money, wanting to put money towards something, and you're hoping that you have it, or this money that you have coming in, you have very specific ideas of how you're going to spend it and what you're going to spend it on. We also have the Nine of Swords, which is our card for feeling like a ghost if you're feeling isolated or alone at all. The Nine of Swords is our card for feeling almost as if you're not being heard or not being seen. So this card is difficult for some of us where we feel like, nothing's effective. That's in your background though, so let's take a look and see what this is feeling like. We have the Four of Wands, which is your foundation. So maybe the way these cards are looking, some of you might be finding a new place to live or looking for a new place to live, and finding it, because this is about like foundation right here with the Four of Wands. What's your foundation look like, and looking for money. So that might even be doing an addition or something coming up with your home that you need to add money, especially with that Tower card, which tells us it'll be something on the fly. We also have the Fool card for crossroads, opportunity, and decision making. Next to that, we have the Ten of Cups, which is balance. This is internal and external balance, where you feel as if you're being supported by others. This is our mirror card. This is our duality and balance, where you have what you're putting out is meeting you. So the other thing that's uncomfortable for Aries in this moment is they're feeling very restricted. We have the Ten of Swords here, where you're feeling bound in different places or feeling restricted. This might be something like overcommitment. You've got too much to do, like going to school, raising kids, and having a full-time job, and a relationship. That would be like bound up, like you've got so many things to accommodate. This might also be like working a lot, or even the opposite of which, where you don't have a job and so you're financially limited, where you can't branch out and do the things that you'd like, or even accommodate or take care of some of the things that need taken care of. So that's that feeling bound kind of feeling. I do have the Three of Wands, and that card has to do with gossip or feeling like you're on the hot seat. Think of being roasted on one of those shows where people are picking at you. And this might not even be you in specific, but you might be feeling as if, people are looking at you or in that direction. There's an interesting little twist to this reading, Aries. This is the Five of Cups with the Strength card. I'm wondering how many of you are distrustful of medical information right now, because that's just a curious little combination. We have the Devil card in the center, which is that somebody's lying to me. I know they are. And so it makes me wonder if you're stressed out a little bit about medical or information, or things that are going on around you, because it just feels like you can't trust people right now. I can tell you by the end of the week, though, that this energy is going to slip into something a little easier. The clouds are going to pass. It's not going to be as heavy forever. It feels like this is something that's actually going on right now that you'll be moving out of. One thing that's coming up with this, both the Fool card and the High Priestess tells us for you to trust yourself. The High Priestess reminds us to trust your instincts. Next to the High Priestess, though, is the Devil card. So if there's something that's tickling your brain, or you're feeling as if you need to investigate a little more to clear something up that you don't feel sits right, this is an encouragement for you to do so. I'm not saying go look on someone's phone or dig for things, but this is the card that tells you that secrets will be revealed, which is interesting because that's a little bit about what this Mercury retrograde is coming up. That made me a little bit paranoid, but I realized I live with my heart on my sleeve, so there's really nothing to discover. You could just ask. So can't be pertaining to me. However, you never know, right? We're going to mix the magic 8-ball and see what comes up with that one. So I can tell you have the Seven of Swords as well, which says that you're going to feel a little overwhelmed. So don't take on any more than you have to at this point, and really think about what it is you're committed to. But just remember, one of the key components to this reading is that you have support that's out there. A lot of opportunity is presenting itself to you. There's just this thread of distrust, and I feel like you're got a little shell shock from some prior incidents that have happened to you with the Tower card. So you feel as if you've already been challenged enough. So let's move forward and see what's going on for you with the Mystic Dreamer and do your Aries moon reading. So for those of you that are regular sun or rising sign watching the Aries reading, this is for the Aries moon, but you can hang out and see if it applies to you when it comes to how you're feeling. I'm going to, while I'm shuffling, let you know of a couple fun things that are going on the website. And with me, I've got my Women's Body Positivity Retreat coming up October 10th. That's listed on the website if you want to check out the details for that. We'll be doing some body painting, celebration, a little feasting and wine, a little energy clearing with drums and singing bowls, possibly some aura photography if I can line that up the way I want to. Book your one-on-one, karmaondeck.com. And of course, there is the Tarot 101 class. Some of you that want to add that to your toolbox. All right, here we go, Aries. I think that's shuffled enough. This is for your Aries moon. Emperor, Tower. So Tower is your congruency. That's being pulled between your general and your moon reading. Also your Three of Cups. Burden, charity, things getting easier, repetition. All right. So we have the Emperor, okay? So the Emperor has to do with leadership. It's also our card for being very direct with doing things. If you think of men and women doing things in a different way, and think of how an emperor would do things, he's just going to run shit. Then we have the Tower card. So maybe you made some attempts at doing that and it kind of fell apart, and now you're in your feelings. You've got the Queen of Cups. We also have the King of Pentacles and the Three of Cups, which talks to us about abundance and doing things in a fun way. Three of Cups is celebration, and it's also chemistry. And that doesn't always have to be sexual chemistry, but if you meet someone you really vibe with at work, or you're meeting a new vendor for your employer, or you're just having a really good time with things, that's what you're moving towards. So regardless of whatever past mistakes you've made, this is going to play out beautifully. I will say you have the Ten of Wands in here, which feels as if some things are too heavy to bear. If you look at this, it's straw that broke the camel's back, right? And you might have had to ask for help, or maybe there's someone around you who's looking for that same help. And you're feeling like this is just too much for me, too much for you, and you're feeling a little overwhelmed about that decision. Now, this isn't about whether you choose to help or ask for help. It's about feeling overwhelmed about asking for it. I can admit, though, that you have the Seven of Wands out, which means that you're feeling a little defensive. And so you have your weapons out and you're kind of prepared for things to go badly. It's interesting that Pisces had that same energy. They had that in, I think, yeah, they had that in the same thing. It's so interesting to me how you guys have similar energy for different signs have similar energy affecting them in so many different ways. Where we have the Seven of Wands, where Pisces is ready to go to bat, you're taking this more personally. So you have your defenses up before anyone, because remember, this is your moon section and how it's ending up. And what I'm going to have to say, Aries, is with the Seven of Wands, and isn't this interesting how the same card can sound different with a different individual? We have the Seven of Wands, you're defensive. And then we have the Four of Cups, which things aren't the way you want them to be, or you're looking back at something you wish you could put back in alignment. COVID to my business, that's a great way to look at it. I just wish things were the way they were a year ago. So you have your defenses out, so you're being more careful in how you're leading yourself forward. The very next card is the Hierophant. So this is a tricky one. This has to do with 2 or 3 things. It has to do with faith. Like ultimately this card was designed to be talking about leaders in faith. And so sometimes it's our faith is challenged. And so right now you might even feel as if your faith is challenged, and so you're clapping back, or you've got your weapons out and you're feeling like, no, that's not how this is going to go down. But also the interesting thing about this is it has to do with going back to school, because it sometimes can mean higher education or a big institutional learning. But behind this though also is the Hierophant. If you look at it, I always call this my stubborn card. So are you being stubborn? You got to ask yourself that before you can admit that it might be one of these other things. So at times I will say that, you know, if the Hierophant comes in with the Emperor, it's arrogance, hubris, and pride. And we have a tendency to be stubborn about something. So perhaps you're just stubbornly in a place where you're not wanting to let things go. Your expectations especially is what I'd hazard a guess to be. I also see in the center of this reading, which is the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is repetition and redundancy, perfecting your expertise, perfecting a lesson. Some of us, we keep doing the same lesson over and over again until we get it right. And for others of us, it's like, okay, we're refining the skill set that we're learning. And so we're seeing like, oh, I've seen this before. We're not playing that game. No, we're not. All right, I am going to pull a card for you from Divination of the Ancients for your Oracle deck and your message for this week. And afterward, let me check this now because I always get discombobulated. That's right, Taurus. I have to double check because, you know, I get loopy here. All right, so let's pull your card from Divination of the Ancients and see. Wisdom. I love this because we were just talking at the end of the reading about having that energy of expertise and mastering things. So when we come up and cycle against a similar situation, you know, exes or relationship energy or an argument that we felt like we've dealt with before, mostly it's relationships. Why am I dating the narcissist again? But ultimately this has to do with wisdom. This is our strength card that's in play. So right now Aries is really practicing with coming at things with a sense of wisdom and expertise rather than respond versus react. Alrighty, I'll be back with Taurus right after this. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. And as I always say, love is the answer to every question. If you can find love in the equation, you